John Falcon knocks on the door, gun in his hand. He is determined. He will marry Frieda Belinafante or die trying. To his relief, it's Frieda that opens the door, not Henrietta. He does not want to figure out how this conversation would go if the door was open to Henrietta. When Frieda opens his door, she realizes and she sees that the guest is John, a dear friend of hers, a musician that plays with her. Him a flautist, her a celloist. She smiles. It's a wonderful surprise to see her friend. But there's something odd about his expression. Determined. John grabs her hand and says, Frieda, I left my fiance. I left her for you. Marry me. I love you. Marry me. Wait, what? Frieda doesn't know how to respond. They're friends, just friends. Besides, Frieda's living and loving Henrietta Yeti right now. John should know this. John's like, just thinking Frieda's confused, says, and repeats himself with, I broke off my engagement for you. I love you. Marry me. Frieda again doesn't know how to respond. She loves and lives with Yeti. Maybe if she explains this to him, to John, he'll leave, he'll drop this. John, I'm living with Yeti right now. I love Yeti. I love women. I don't love men. I will forever be putting women on a pedestal the way that I will never put a man on one. I will forever love a woman the way I could never love a man. I do not know why I do this. It's just in my nature. Don't you understand? I can't love you the way that you love me. This doesn't dissuade John at all. I don't care. It doesn't matter if you love me or not. Just live with me. If you live with me, that's all I care about. If you don't, he puts the gun to his temple and says, I'll kill myself then. So that's why he brought the gun. Not if Frieda refuses to kill Frieda, but if Frieda refuses to kill himself, then he will kill himself. Frieda doesn't want to marry John, but Frieda knows that if she doesn't marry John, then he'll die. If she doesn't marry John, then her friend will die. So the answer is obvious. All right, John, let's get married. Frieda and Yeti are sitting down at the kitchen table. Frieda realizes she needs to tell Yeti. Yeti, there's something I need to tell you. I got married. I'm moving out to live with John. Yeti doesn't say anything. Except, I'll see you at breakfast. It's the early 1940s, and the Dutch resistance has a problem. A few years back, the Germans invaded the Netherlands and now control the Netherlands. And when controlling the Netherlands, they made sure that everybody has an identification card. So that means they can do random stops and check and see if that person's a Jew. Because if a person is a Jew, on their ID card, there's a big J on it. So everybody knows that that person is Jewish. However, the Dutch resistance had a solution to that problem. The problem that everybody knows that that person is Jewish, which means that that person is in danger. That solution, false identity cards. I mean, how do you know if that person's Jewish if they don't have a J on their card? I mean, you're not going to look at someone without a J on their card and say, oh, that person's definitely still Jewish, right? However, there's a problem. Because the Gestapo are thinking leading onto them. For if they figure out one false identity card is in circulation, then they know that there could be thousands of false identity cards in circulation, which means that the whole thing would go to fail. I mean, the biggest problem is that all the original identity cards, the ones that are not false, have a copy in City Hall. So once they figure out that false identity cards are in circulation, they can go and check your identity card to see if it has a copy or not. Which means the Dutch resistance has a big problem. But Frieda Belinafante, she has an idea. I mean, she's not a leader of the resistance. She's just the one that creates and writes out the false identity cards. She's the only one with a steady enough hand. But nonetheless, Frieda has an idea. What if we destroy the copies? What if we destroy City Hall? A young woman waits and watches as everybody else walks by, walking by as if there's nothing wrong, as if there's no care in the world. However, that young woman, she knows something's wrong. For that woman's Frieda. Frieda knows something's wrong because Rudy, another person in resistance, Rudy's late. And it's not good when someone's late. For if someone's late, then that means they know. Means that that person is compromised. Means that the resistance is compromised. But Frieda looks at the clock and thinks, he still has another minute. Last week, Rudy gave the news that this bombing was successful. City Hall was destroyed. Thousands of copies of identity cards were destroyed, which means the false identity cards are safe. It's official. Rudy's late. And when Rudy's late, they know. That means that Rudy's been compromised, which means that the resistance has been compromised, which means that Frieda has been compromised. For now, all that Frieda can do is hide. Frieda needs to run. However, where can Frieda run to? For if Rudy's compromised and the resistance is compromised and Frieda's compromised, that means her home is compromised. Frieda can't go home, but Frieda can't be Frieda. What can Frieda do? How can Frieda hide? She can become a man. A young man walks into a barbershop. He wears a three-piece suit, glasses, and a hat. He takes off his hat to reveal messy, chopped, self-cut hair. He desperately needs a haircut. The barber offers him the chair and says, "What can I do for you, sir?" A shave or a cut? Just a cut. And no one bats an eye. Frieda becomes Hans.
Let's have a quick look at Hans and Frieda, or Frieda and Hans.